My best friend almost killed my son. So I met this girl in high school freshman year. Let's call her Rose. Rose was outgoing, fun, and goofy. We were nerds at the time, but grew up by freshman years. There was no issues with her at all whatsoever, no red flags. The only problem in my life though, and throughout a majority of my life, was that I lived in a toxic household. My father used to beat on me, and my mother used to emotionally manipulate me. And then my mother would sit here and really have the nerve to complain when I wouldn't spend time with her. And then when I tried to explain why I wouldn't, she would just sit here and emotionally abuse me again. So one day I started showing symptoms of pregnancy and I went and got tested, and it turns out I was 6 weeks pregnant. I had a boyfriend at the time, so I informed him. He told me he wanted no part in this. I was devastated and distraught and heartbroken, not to mention. Not only did he never actually love me, but he also abandoned his soon-to-be child. So my best friend brought up the idea of living together. My gut was telling me something was off about this idea, but I knew her for 4 years and I knew she wouldn't do anything bad. So we got our apartment, and you will not believe what happened next. Come back for part 2. We rented out a 2-bedroom apartment and everything was fine at first. She forgot to do a couple of chores, but after reminding her, she did it. So one day she got a girlfriend and everything was fine. But she started to park in my parking spot. She used to eat our food and sometimes my food, and she would leave the bathroom a mess by missing the trash can and leaving the floor wet during showers. She even went through my personal belongings at one point drunk, thinking it was Rose's room. I told Rose about this problem and she apologized and said she'd talk to her girlfriend about it and tell her to stop. Which, her girlfriend did stop for a period of time. I ended up having the baby. I remember on the way there, I asked Rose to bring me, but she was complaining because her and her girlfriend were watching a movie. That was the first red flag for me. So then as time progressed, I was raising my son and everyone loved him, but she was complaining about the noise and him crying, so she helped me soundproof my room. So my baby was sleeping and I was going to go to the grocery store, which was like a block away. So I left him there, I put the monitor up in case anything happened, and I left to the grocery store. And when I came back from grocery shopping, So I came back to the apartment and it felt like it was 100 degrees inside the house. It was so hot that I experienced a whiplash of hot air. I could barely breathe. It was so muggy. I was wondering why the AC was off, and then I realized my son was home. I ran to him and he was slightly unconscious. I tapped his face a couple of times and then he started crying. I ran to the car and blasted the AC. I gave him some of my milk and luckily he was okay. He fell asleep in the car seat. I was so mad. Then I saw Rose pull up with her freaking girlfriend. I got up and I confronted her. I asked her why she turned off the AC and I told her she could have killed my kid, literally. She just brushed it off and said the bill was getting too high. She also told me I shouldn't be worried or mad about it because my baby was okay and alive. I was so mad, I just literally went upstairs and I started packing my stuff. As I was packing my stuff midway, she grabbed some of my stuff. I literally had to pepper spray her to get her out of my room. I ended up staying at a hotel for about 6 months. Now I live in an apartment alone with my baby. Luckily, I'm financially stable. You don't really know a person until you live with them. Follow for more story times.